So we had the Volkswagen emissions scandal as our PR crisis, which basically Volkswagen got accused of violating the Clean Air Act of 1990 by the sale of nearly 600,000 diesel motor vehicles modeled from 2009 to 2016. They were equipped with defeat devices in the form of computer software designed to cheat emissions tests. This basically just means that when the car or the vehicle was stationary or getting their emissions test done, that it would meet the federal emissions requirements. But when it was in motion, like driving, it actually, there's a significant change in fuel pressure, injection timing, exhaust gas recirculation, and the amount of fluid sprayed into the exhaust. Which this allows for more mileage and higher power, but damage is much greater to the environment. Before we talk about the actual PR strategy and the crisis in it, it's important to just know what the Clean Air Act was. It's been amended multiple times, but 1990 was the most recent one, I believe. That's at least what they violated in 2016 or 2015. But it's basically a comprehensive federal law that regulates air emissions from stationary and mobile sources. So it's not just cars. And the point of it is to protect public health and public welfare. And then specifically for vehicles, according to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, the Clean Air Act of 1990 establishes tighter pollution standards for emissions from automobiles and trucks. These standards will reduce tailpipe emissions of hydrocarbons, carbon monoxide, and nitrogen oxides on a phased-in basis beginning in model year 1994. Automobile manufacturers will also be required to reduce vehicle emissions resulting from the evaporation of gasoline during refueling. So it's basically just to protect the environment from emissions, and with cars being one of the main things that puts harmful chemicals into the air, they were trying to regulate it, and Volkswagen was trying to get around it to make their cars more appealing, but they ended up just cheating the test. So not only was it a huge environmental issue, it became a PR nightmare for Volkswagen, and they didn't respond very well to it at all. It actually was a very slow response. They violated the act and they violated their customers' trust. So their initial response was not planned, organized, cohesive, anything. They had different executives responding and saying different things. Some claimed they had no idea what was going on. Others claimed that they would get, people would get reimbursed, and then others claimed that that wasn't going to happen. And then one of their biggest downfalls is that their first response to the accusation was that it was simply a technical error, so they lied again. And then they finally admitted they did it to deceive. So then they got caught in their lie about their cheating. So that's really where their customers' trust was just absolutely lost. They had no chance of getting it back. And then their social media team didn't react quickly at all. They didn't post anything for 4 days. And then when they finally did post something, it was just this video of their CEO, Martin Winterkorn, responding with an apology.
Ladies and gentlemen, the irregularities in our group's diesel engines go against everything Volkswagen stands for. At present, I also do not yet have the answers to all the questions, but we are working hard to find out exactly what happened. To do that, we're putting everything on the table, as quickly, rigorously, and transparently as possible. And we continue to cooperate closely with the relevant government organizations and authorities. This quick and full clarification has the highest priority. We owe that to our customers, our employees, and the public. And to be frank with you, manipulation and Volkswagen, that must never be allowed to happen again. Ladies and gentlemen, millions of people all over the world trust our brands, our cars, and our technologies. I am deeply sorry that we have broken this trust. I would like to make a formal apology to our customers, to the authorities, and to the general public for this misconduct.
So those are small examples of their PR strategy, or of their PR response, but their PR strategy that they did put into action was they offered, and it was mainly for their angry US customers, that they offered owners of certain diesel models, those who were caught with the flawed technology, a chance to apply for a $500 prepaid Visa card and a dealership card of the same amount. Two U.S. senators said in a letter that this offer was insultingly inadequate, and I can't say that I disagree. It's almost comical. And so this left their customers feeling like they handled the global crisis in a very dishonest way, and they didn't really respond at all to what their customers needed.
Yeah, so the public's response to Volkswagen's former CEO, Martin Winterkorn's apology and plea bargain was overall negative, of course. There was a lot of skepticism surrounding their apology due to the breaking of trust between Volkswagen and their consumers. So for many, a simple apology just wouldn't cut it. They demanded that actions would match Volkswagen's words. So the public wanted to see the CEO's promise fulfilled, repairing 11 million cars that were affected by the scandal. This was according to the Washington Post. So the scandal costed Volkswagen a vast amount. Volkswagen paid over $9.5 billion in settlement funds, which was reported in July 2020 by the Federal Trade Commission. The settlement funds went toward the payment for car repairs that reduced nitrogen oxide in Volkswagen's diesel cars. According to the New York Times, the scandal overall has cost Volkswagen over $30 billion. So the Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA, has authority to fine each Volkswagen car that was defected $37,000, which is a lot of money for each car. However, that didn't end up happening because of their decision to consolidate all these fines into settlement funds, according to the EPA website. So Volkswagen paid $2.8 billion in criminal penalties and $1.4 billion to resolve EPA's civil claims, aka lawsuit, against Volkswagen. Not only did Volkswagen lose trust, but a lot of money. So a media theory that could be supported through the result of this crisis is Katz's theory of uses and gratification, but leans more towards like the use side of this theory and not so much as like the pleasing and gratifying side of this theory. So for media users who were like looking for the best car to buy from looking online, the uses and gratification theory could come into play. Because if a person is looking like for a car and sees news reports on this scandal, they can make a decision based off of this information, deterring from Volkswagen, which fulfills a need for them in their looking and searching intentionally for a car. So yeah, and perhaps partly because of this, the Volkswagen sales decreased in November 2015, almost 25% from a year prior in November 2014. So this decrease continued for years after until 2017, when their sales rose by 4% globally, which was very significant for them. And this was because of new cars being released and electric car pushes and its efforts to settle issues and regain trust. So yeah, overall, Volkswagen has made a significant progress in regaining the trust of the public, and they have paid back all that's needed, well, from our knowledge. Not entirely sure, there wasn't too much information surrounding that. But yeah, they've reformed their company to be more ethical environmentally, supposedly, by creating electric cars.